Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you or teach you how to tap holes, starting with the drill press, and then we'll manually tap the threaded holes later. Please always remember to follow all safety guidelines. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses when operating the drill press. Make sure you're wearing no loose clothing or jewelry as well. So when you're first learning to tap holes, I always recommend starting off with a very forgiving material such as high density polyethylene. It's basically what your cutting boards are made out of, or something like wrench shape, okay? I don't recommend starting with metal right off the bat. So for this video tutorial, we're going to make two holes. We're going to make a countersink hole with 1/4 threads, and we're going to make a counterbore hole with 3/8 by 16 threads.
So before we can actually thread and manually tap a hole, it's important that we drill the correct size hole first. And if you ever need a table like this, which tells you the correct drill size to use, you can always just go online. For example, I found this one at www.lincolnmachine.com tapdrillchart.html. So as previously mentioned, for this video, we want to create 1/4 threads. Okay, so in order to tap and add 1/4 threads, we first need to drill out a 13 by 64th diameter hole. We also want to create 3/8 by 16 threads, but before we can manually tap and create these threads, we first need to drill out a 5/16 diameter hole.
So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and measure and mark off the locations where you want to drill your holes. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and grab a hammer and what's called a center punch, and place your center punch right where you made your mark, and with your hammer go ahead and tap your center punch and do that for the other hole. All right, so the next thing we want to do now is go ahead and load our workpiece into our vise, and it may be necessary to adjust your vise location, okay, so that our drill bit here lines up perfectly where we measured and marked off our hole centers here, okay? All right, so once you have your workpiece secured in your vise, your safety glasses are on, okay, and we know that your drill bit here is going to come down in our desired location here, okay, go ahead and move the drill bit back up, select start, and go ahead and drill your hole to the desired depth. I like to use a pecking motion just to get the chips out. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the drill press. Now, if you recall, earlier I said we're going to make a countersink hole, so I'm going to go ahead and take this drill bit out, and be careful, the drill bit may be hot. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert my 1/2-inch countersink drill bit here. All right, I'm not moving my workpiece, okay? It's in a secure location, and it's exactly where I want it. So once that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and select start. I want the cone portion here of my countersink drill bit to insert the material, just the cone portion, okay? That will give me the desired depth I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and select start. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and take out my countersink drill bit with my drill truck key here. Okay, I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to grab the next tool to make my next hole, which is a 5/16 drill bit to make my 3/8 by 16 threads. Okay, and notice I have a counterbore bit, okay, that goes on top of this drill bit to make the counterbore hole. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and load this into my my spindle here. I'm going to adjust my workpiece so that I have it in position. I'm going to check it. I'm a little off. Perfect. Tighten my vise. Now I'm going to go ahead and drill my hole to the desired depth. I'm going to start the machine. Once again, I'm going to use the pecking motion just to get rid of chips and debris. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the machine. So I've got my 2 holes, okay, drilled to the desired depth with the right diameter tool size. Okay, so I've got my countersink and I've got my counterbore. Now I'm going to go ahead and manually tap them so I can insert my bolts. Okay. All right, the next thing you're going to need is a tap wrench here, just like the one seen here, and your desired tap sizes. In this case, we're using a 1/4 20 here and a 3/8 by 16ths. Go ahead and insert the tap into the tap wrench. Okay, go ahead and tighten it. All right, once you got it in place, the next thing you want to go ahead and do is insert your tap into the hole and apply constant downward pressure as you turn it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and back it out. And if you're using aluminum, it's a good idea to use some sort of machine oil or lubricating oil in the process. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process for the 3/8 tap. I'm going to take my 1/4 20 tap out. I'm going to insert my 3/8 tap into the tap wrench. Okay, so it's set up like so. I'm going to insert my tap into the hole, once again applying constant downward pressure. I'm going to rotate it clockwise and keep pressing down. And if you're using metal, once again, I recommend using some machine oil to help you lubricate it. In this case, we don't need it. And this is why I recommend practicing on a more forgiving material first. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and back it out now. Another thing too is if you're using metal, you're going to want to go down and then back it out a little bit, and then go down and back it out a little bit, okay? But since we're using a more forgiving material, we don't really need to do that. And the last thing you want to do, the most rewarding part, is to go ahead and test out your tap. Okay, go ahead and grab the bolt that you need and go ahead and screw it in. Looks good. We'll try our 3/8 bolt. All right, looks good. And that's how you tap holes.